Stop bitching, you asked to be a parent. Parenting is hard. And that's when things started to go like wrong. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So, this video. I'm doing this video purely because I needed this video last week. So, I feel like your Google or your YouTube or your Instagram, all you see is like just positive things about parenting. Oh, like, don't get me wrong, parenting is amazing. I would never ever change it for a million years. I love Lila, I love Luke, like she is the reason we breathe. She is just like the best thing that's ever happened to us. We love that little girl so much. So this isn't me bitching about parenting, because it's not. This is just me being open and honest about how bloody hard parenting is. But I think people also need to talk about how hard it is, because it feels lonely. Like last week I felt like I'm the only person who's feeling like this, and Luke obviously. Like, why are we the only people that are feeling like this? Why does nobody else talk about it? And when you actually start talking to people about it, they come out of their shell a bit more and say, do you know what, actually it's been hard for us too. So I feel like this video, it could help people start talking about it more. It can make people realise they're not on their own. So yeah, long story short, that's why I'm doing this video. If you're watching this video, you're going to probably think one of two things. One, you're probably going to think, snap, I feel you, help, somebody send help, like this is hard. Or you're going to think, stop bitching, you asked to be a parent. And if you're thinking that, like, obviously you're probably not a parent. And I get it. If you're not a parent, you're not going to understand. I used to sit there and like think, oh, why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? I didn't have a clue. I wasn't a parent. I didn't know. So if that's what you're thinking, I get it. Continue watching like this video. You might like, actually once I've explained everything, you might sit there and think, oh, actually, yeah, that's not the easiest. And it's okay to say it's hard. It's okay to complain about it. It doesn't mean you're a bad parent. So before I explain like how I was feeling last week and what was going on last week, I need to kind of explain a little bit more about what's happened and like rewind. I was probably like a month old. She's really suffered with reflux. At the time I didn't know it was reflux. She's been misdiagnosed with CMPA, which is cow's milk protein allergy. So I cut all dairy out of my diet so it wouldn't go into my breast milk. Turns out it wasn't that. Not the end of the world. And then she was diagnosed with reflux, and then they've been messing about her medication. Yeah, it's been a bit of a long road to kind of get to where we are. We waited, I think she was referred at like 2, maybe 3 months for a paediatrician, and she literally got seen last week, which was when she was 6 months old. Yeah, so it's all kind of like stemmed from there. The paediatrician like put me at ease so much. He made me feel like I wasn't going crazy. He said it was severe reflux and that there's a few things that we can do. He basically said that if he'd seen us earlier, he would have told us to start weaning early, which we didn't. I'd literally started weaning a few days before this appointment when she was 6 months. So unfortunately we didn't see him sooner. He said wean early, which obviously we had already started weaning at that point. And he didn't want her to be on her medication for a long period of time, because there's a lot of complications to this medication. So he wanted to start weaning her off this medication. He also basically said that he wanted her on 3 meals a day and 2 snacks by 9 months. Now this was really overwhelming, because the only things I've been told about weaning from health visitors and like all the medical professionals was that you don't need to be on 3 meals a day until like over 1. Like food before 1 is just for fun. So I had that in my head. We'd started weaning a few days before. We were doing baby-led weaning, and you know what, we were enjoying it. It was fun, it was exciting. But like this appointment kind of like put a lot of pressure on me, and thought like, wow, I need to get her on 3 meals a day. I need to get her to like food, good food, to make her better. Like that was a lot of pressure. Like the only way that she was gonna get better and get her off this medication was if I get food in her. And like, if your baby doesn't want to eat and isn't ready or doesn't want to explore food yet, it was just a lot. It was really, really overwhelming. But he also put me at ease. Like this whole time, like me and Luke would sit down some nights and think, what are we doing wrong? What, like, is she just an unhappy baby? How can we make her happier? Why is she upset all the time? Why does she cry a lot? I mean, I get that babies cry, but some days it was a lot. Like some days she just wouldn't stop. There would be like a 10-15 minute period where she would stop and then she would go again. Or not necessarily cry, but like, I hate to use this word because it's a negative word, but the only word I could think of is whinging. Like she would just whinge all the time. But he literally explained everything. So like, Lila would never ever do tummy time, and if she would do tummy time, it'd be for like 10 seconds max, and she would start crying because she'd be in pain. Sometimes she wouldn't like to be laid on her back. This was because of reflux. Sometimes she would go through stages of not sleeping as well as she normally would. I mean, like, to be fair, I can't really complain. Lila has kind of been a pretty good sleeper, but there would be like weeks where she'd be up every couple of hours, and they said that that's because of the reflux, like on her chest, blah blah blah, on her back. Yeah. So like you could full on hear that, like you could hear the reflux, like not reflux, but you can hear like the acid or the sick or something trying to come up, and it was a lot. Another thing, there was also blood in her stool. That was the reason why they diagnosed her with CMPA, because that's like kind of the main thing that CMPA causes, but that was also due to the reflux. She could roll, she could happily, like she knew how to roll, but she just wouldn't roll because she knew that if she started to figure out that if she rolls she ends up on her stomach, and that's when she ends up in pain. And it was just things like she just wouldn't want to be put down ever, because if she'd be put down it would be either on her front or her back, and she'd just be in pain. Anyway, after that appointment there was a lot of emotions, and I think we'd been doing weaning a few days maybe, I think it was, and we'd started on baby-led weaning. I went away from this appointment and I spoke to Luke, and basically we were going to go like puree baby-led weaning type style, like the puree, just to basically get some food, like, and I weren't force feeding her, like, but she took it easier being pureed. Also from the appointment he said that he doesn't like Lila's medication. We would up it like every 1 or 2 weeks, just because like as she grew she would outgrow the medication, so the quicker she grew the quicker we needed to put her on more medication. But he said he wanted to stop that, he wanted to keep her on the dosage that she was on, and by the time she was 9 months she would have outgrown it and like weaned herself off. So when it come like after this appointment would kind of been the time that we would have upped it, so I kept it as it was. And that's when things started to go like wrong. So I went away from this appointment and me and Luke decided that we were going to mix up baby-led weaning with a bit of puree just to make it a bit easier, and because we kind of had to rush it and we couldn't have been children laid back as what we thought we could, so we thought like a puree would like make it a bit easier. So we're doing a bit of both. It was going really, really well. You could see the difference in her. She started to go on her stomach, she was happier. You could like let her play on the floor and she would be happy. You wouldn't have to pick her up all the time. She started to rock, like in her cot she would sleep on her stomach. That never ever happened. I remember the first time I shot up, I was just so scared. I'd never seen her sleep on her tummy, and I woke Luke up and I was like, look, she was just asleep because she was happy to be on her stomach. So usually at this point I would ring the doctors and get a new dosage for Lila and just keep giving her the dosage. And I didn't, because the paediatrician told me to, and I let the days go by, and she just started getting worse and worse, and obviously the dosage were just getting weaker and weaker. And it got to a point like where, so like she just wouldn't stop. She wouldn't stop crying or whinging, with that horrible word. She just wouldn't stop. There would like be some points where like 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes max, where she would calm down, but then she would start again. She wouldn't let me put her down. She wouldn't sleep as well as she would before, and then if she was sleeping I'd have to rock her to sleep. I couldn't put her straight down. Was not interested in like eat like actual food. Like she wouldn't eat food, which the benefits that the food was having kind of sort of stopped because she wouldn't eat. And then like breastfeeding, she would feed a little bit and then she would just burst out in tears because she was in pain, so she wouldn't get a full feed. And then she was upset because she was hungry, but then she wouldn't be able to eat because she was in pain, so it was just a vicious circle. And then also like the way we give Lila medication is in a bottle of breast milk at night, so even though it wasn't the correct dosage, it was getting weaker. Even that little bit she wasn't getting because she was refusing bottles. It was just a vicious cycle. Like the medication you had to keep on top of, or these things would just keep spiraling, and then it would get worse and worse and worse. And like we couldn't give her the medication like in a syringe, because I'm not gonna lie, I've tasted the medication as well, and it is disgusting. It was probably the worst medication I have tasted. So no wonder she just point blank would not take it. I would try and give her it, she'd spit it out, she'd throw it up, she'd start crying because she didn't want it. It was just a disaster. Just going on for days, just be the second she woke up till the second she went to bed, and then she was up like quite a lot during the night, and it was just non-stop. And Luke would obviously, he had no choice, he had to go to work, so I was dealing with it on my own all day. Then bless him, Luke would come home and he would have to deal with me being stressed, Lila being upset, and it was a lot. And like we had this quite a lot for the first few months of her life, and then things started to get better on the medication, and then seeing her for that few days, how happy she could be, and then it getting that bad again. It was just, I felt so useless. These days just rolled into one. Like it feels like it was a month, but I think it was maybe like a few days, a week, something like that. And I rang the doctors and I basically said, look, I was honest, said the paediatrician said this, he doesn't want to approve medication, I'm not going to go into why, like there's so much to this medication. I said, but we've got to outweigh, like we've got to weigh all this up here. Like if she's not on it, my daughter's in pain, and I'm not having my daughter be in this much pain. So they upped it. So I'm just waiting to hear back from the paediatrician, but I got a load more advice from the doctor. So we've changed her whole weaning now. It's gone from one thing to another. Like I was loving baby-led weaning. She was loving baby-led weaning. It was fun. It was messy. It was exciting. We've gone to purees now, and just because it's easier, and she, like before she played with the food, but she didn't eat much of it. It was just exploring, whereas puree, she will eat the whole lot. The advice that he gave me, so he's up the medication, but he's also referring that back to the paediatrician. Like the paediatrician's seen us at 9 months, but he's also letting him know that we're still increasing the dosage, and unfortunately we can't wean her off just yet. Maybe a year we can start weaning her off it again, but right now just is not the time. And maybe when she is eating more, eating 3 meals a day, maybe then we could start reducing it. We're sticking to like plain vegetables, so like I was giving her anything really, like fruits and vegetable wise, and like some nights I was just having what we were eating and just stick it in the blender, obviously like no salt, no honey, that kind of thing. Things like, for example, strawberries can be quite acidic, so like any acidic things that, I think broccoli's one as well, so anything that's quite acidic, and they are foods that can have a bad reaction with reflux. So we're kind of just sticking to the plain Jane vegetables, but to be fair, she likes it, she enjoys it. So we're getting there with weaning. Yeah, it's been a lot. There's been a lot of ups and downs. It was a very lonely week. Like, I didn't know what to do. There were days where I was like, what? I would lay there at night when she eventually did go to sleep, like, what am I going to do tomorrow? How am I going to cope tomorrow? What do I do? Like, I just dreaded it. And I came off social media for quite a few days, and as you all know, like I post quite a lot on social media, and I thank you all so much. Like, I had so many messages just asking like, are you okay? Like, why are you not posting anything? Do you know what? That was quite nice to have people notice that you're not on there as much. But yeah, so I completely came off social media for a few days just because I could not deal with everything that was going on. Nobody really talks about reflux and how bad it can actually get, and I just wanted to get the message out there. Like, if anybody else's baby is struggling with reflux, like, I get it. It's okay to ask for help. If you feel like you've been misdiagnosed like we were, just get the help you need. It took a few days for the upped dosage to get in Lila's system, and do you know what, the past few days she's just been so much happier. Again, she's just like a different baby. And you just sit there and think, how can this medication and the food make such a difference? And it honestly does. It's nice to see her happy and the happy baby she can be, and not see her in that pain. We're getting there. That's what's going on. My poor baby, she's been through a lot. We've been through a lot. That is it from me. That is the update of what the hell is going on in our lives and how we felt last week. And it's okay to say it's hard. Parenting is hard. It's okay to say that. That is it from me. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on that post notification bell so you know when I post, and I'll see you next week. Bye.